Today, let's talk about something that might sound a little challenging at first, but it's something I believe we all need to hear: stop being a nice woman. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might think, isn't being nice a good thing? Isn't being kind what the world needs? And yes, being kind is essential. But there is a difference between being kind and being overly accommodating. There's a difference between caring for others and forgetting about yourself. Kindness is a virtue we are all taught to value from a young age. It's often seen as a sign of strength, compassion, and warmth. However, there is a fine line between being kind and over-accommodating others at the expense of our own well-being. Over-accommodation happens when we go beyond simple kindness and begin sacrificing too much of ourselves to please others or avoid conflict. While kindness is an act of love and consideration, over-accommodation is rooted in a fear of disappointing others, being rejected, or feeling unworthy unless we meet everyone else's needs. The key to understanding this difference lies in the intent behind the action and the impact it has on your life. Kindness comes from a place of generosity, where the intention is to be supportive, loving, and compassionate. When you're kind, you offer help because you genuinely care and want to make a positive difference. However, when you over-accommodate, your actions are driven more by a need to please or be liked than by a genuine desire to help. It comes from a fear of conflict, a fear of judgment, or a belief that you're not enough unless you are constantly doing for others. Over-accommodation can show up in many ways. For example, you might say yes to everything, even when you are already overwhelmed or exhausted. You might stretch yourself thin by agreeing to take on tasks, help others, or attend events because you feel you should, even when you know it's not in your best interest. The fear of disappointing someone or feeling guilty for saying no can drive this behavior. Over time, this leads to burnout, resentment, and a loss of self-identity because you begin to prioritize others' needs over your own. When you are kind, you are offering your help or support without expectations. Your kindness is rooted in the understanding that you have enough to give, and your energy is being shared in a way that feels good to you. Kindness doesn't come with strings attached, and you don't feel depleted by it. However, when you over-accommodate, you start to do things for others out of a sense of obligation, not from a place of genuine desire. You may find yourself agreeing to things you don't want to do, staying in situations that don't serve you, or giving away your time and energy without receiving anything in return. This is where the harm begins, because you're draining yourself and neglecting your own needs. Over time, this pattern of over-accommodation can lead to feelings of frustration and resentment. When you consistently put others first, you begin to feel unappreciated or taken for granted. You might even start to feel invisible or as though your needs don't matter. This is where the damage to your self-esteem occurs. When we are always nice, we lose sight of our own worth, and our sense of self-worth becomes tied to how much we do for others. We end up in situations where we feel trapped, and even though we are giving, we are not receiving the love or recognition we deserve. In contrast, true kindness comes from a place of empowerment. When you are kind, you are making a conscious choice to offer support because you can, not because you feel you must. This allows you to maintain balance in your life, ensuring that your own needs are met while still showing love and compassion to others. The beauty of kindness is that it doesn't require self-sacrifice. You are not giving away pieces of yourself to make others happy. Instead, you're sharing your positive energy in a way that feels fulfilling to both you and those around you. The challenge is learning to recognize when you're crossing that line from kindness to over-accommodation. It requires developing a deep understanding of your own needs, limits, and desires. It requires being able to say no without guilt to protect your energy and to honor your boundaries. It's important to remember that you can still be a loving and compassionate person without sacrificing your peace or compromising your own well-being. In fact, by taking care of yourself and honoring your boundaries, you become better equipped to be kind to others because you are not running on empty. Being kind to yourself is just as important as being kind to others. It's about recognizing that you deserve the same care, love, and respect that you give to others. Over-accommodation robs you of this by constantly prioritizing others' needs before your own. To truly embrace kindness, you must first start by being kind to yourself, by valuing your own time, energy, and boundaries. Ultimately, it's about finding the balance. Be kind, but don't be afraid to set boundaries and say no when necessary. Being kind to yourself means allowing yourself the space to rest, recharge, and pursue your own happiness. You don't need to be nice in the way the world defines it, sacrificing your own needs to please others. Instead, be genuinely kind in a way that honors who you are, values your worth, and respects your limits. This is the difference between kindness and over-accommodation, and it's a lesson worth learning for your own peace of mind and personal fulfillment. Self-love and self-respect are the foundational pillars upon which a fulfilling and empowered life is built. While the world often places emphasis on external validation and the approval of others, it is the relationship you have with yourself that truly determines your happiness, your worth, and your ability to thrive. Self-love is not merely a feeling of warmth towards yourself, it is an active practice of nurturing your own well-being, treating yourself with care, and embracing your worth without needing others to affirm it. Self-respect, on the other hand, is about honoring your values, setting boundaries, and demanding that others treat you with the dignity you deserve. Together, self-love and self-respect create a powerful synergy that enables you to navigate life with confidence, authenticity, and peace. The importance of self-love cannot be overstated. It is the foundation of everything else in your life: how you perceive yourself, how you treat yourself, and how you allow others to treat you. Without self-love, you are more likely to rely on external sources for validation, constantly seeking approval from others in an attempt to feel worthy. This can lead to a cycle of disappointment and insecurity, as external validation is fleeting and often unreliable. When you love yourself, you are no longer dependent on the approval of others. You can stand firm in your own worth and celebrate who you are, regardless of external circumstances. Self-love is the antidote to self-criticism. It allows you to silence the inner voice of doubt and judgment that tells you you're not good enough. Instead of focusing on your flaws or shortcomings, self-love encourages you to embrace your imperfections as part of your unique story. It's about accepting yourself as you are, with all of your strengths and vulnerabilities. When you love yourself, you stop comparing yourself to others and start appreciating your own journey. You understand that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness simply because you exist. Self-love also plays a vital role in your ability to practice self-care. When you love yourself, you make choices that prioritize your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. This means taking time to rest, nourish your body with healthy food, engage in activities that bring you joy, and set aside moments of reflection or meditation. Self-love requires you to honor your needs and acknowledge when something no longer serves you. It's about making choices that nurture your soul and allow you to show up as the best version of yourself in all areas of your life. Without self-love, self-care becomes a luxury rather than a necessity, and you may find yourself neglecting your own needs in favor of others. Self-respect is equally essential in fostering a healthy relationship with yourself and with others. It is the practice of treating yourself with dignity and valuing your worth. Self-respect means recognizing your own needs, desires, and limitations and standing firm in them, no matter what others might think or say. When you respect yourself, you are less likely to tolerate disrespect or mistreatment from others. You know that you deserve to be treated with kindness, compassion, and fairness, and you are not afraid to set boundaries to protect your peace. Self-respect also means honoring your values and principles, even when it is difficult. It involves living authentically and aligning your actions with your beliefs. When you respect yourself, you make decisions that reflect your true essence, rather than compromising your integrity to fit in or please others. It's about being true to who you are and letting go of the need to please everyone around you. People who have self-respect do not tolerate toxic relationships or environments. They know that their time, energy, and love are valuable, and they choose to invest them in situations that support their growth and well-being. The relationship between self-love and self-respect is deeply intertwined. When you love yourself, you naturally develop respect for yourself. You begin to understand that your worth is not contingent on external factors, and you start to make choices that reflect your belief in your own value. On the other hand, when you respect yourself, you are more likely to engage in practices that nurture your self-love, such as setting healthy boundaries, saying no when necessary, and surrounding yourself with people who uplift and support you. These two qualities work together to create a life that is balanced, healthy, and full of peace. When you practice self-love and self-respect, you become more resilient in the face of challenges. You develop an inner strength that allows you to navigate difficult situations with grace and poise. You no longer rely on others to validate your worth or give you permission to be happy. You know that happiness is something you create for yourself, and that it comes from within, not from external sources. You become less affected by the opinions and judgments of others because you understand that their views do not define who you are. The importance of self-love and self-respect extends to every aspect of your life. In your relationships, they set the tone for how others treat you. In your career, they help you stand up for your needs and pursue your goals with confidence. In your health, they encourage you to take care of your body, mind, and spirit. When you love and respect yourself, you show up fully in all areas of your life, and the world responds in kind. You attract people, opportunities, and experiences that honor your worth because you have first chosen to honor yourself. Ultimately, self-love and self-respect are not just about how you treat yourself, they are about how you show up in the world. They are the foundation of a life filled with authenticity, peace, and joy. By cultivating both, you create a life that is aligned with your true self, one where you are able to shine brightly and live fully, knowing that you are enough just as you are. Setting boundaries without guilt is one of the most powerful acts of self-care and self-respect you can practice. Yet, it is often one of the most challenging, especially for those who have been conditioned to please others or avoid conflict. Many of us struggle with the fear of disappointing others or the belief that setting boundaries makes us seem selfish or unkind. However, the truth is that boundaries are not only necessary for our mental, emotional, and physical well-being, but they also contribute to healthier, more respectful relationships. Setting boundaries without guilt is about recognizing that your needs, time, and energy are just as important as anyone else's, and you have every right to protect them. When you set boundaries, you are essentially defining what you will and won't tolerate and what you need in order to thrive. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable, and you have the right to decide how to spend them. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, mental, or even spiritual. They can range from saying no to an invitation when you need rest, to asserting your needs in a relationship, to speaking up when someone crosses a line. Setting boundaries is not about rejecting others, It's about honoring your own needs while maintaining respect for others. It is a declaration that you deserve to have your own space and peace. One of the biggest challenges in setting boundaries is the fear of feeling guilty. We often worry that saying no will make us seem rude or ungrateful, or that others will view us as selfish. These feelings are rooted in a societal conditioning that values people-pleasing over self-care. We have been taught that being accommodating and saying yes to everything is a virtue, and that setting limits is somehow wrong. However, this mindset only leads to exhaustion, resentment, and burnout. When we fail to set boundaries, we end up giving too much of ourselves away and neglecting our own needs. In the long run, this does more harm than good, both to ourselves and to the relationships we are trying to protect. The key to setting boundaries without guilt is understanding that your needs are valid and that it is not your responsibility to manage other people's reactions. You are not obligated to say yes to everyone or everything just to avoid disappointing others. When you start setting clear boundaries, it can be helpful to remind yourself that you are not rejecting the person, but rather taking care of yourself. Healthy boundaries are necessary for maintaining your well-being. And when you take care of yourself, you are better able to show up for others in a meaningful and authentic way. It's also important to remember that boundaries are not rigid or permanent. They are fluid and can evolve over time based on your needs and circumstances. You may have different boundaries in different areas of your life, and these boundaries may change as your life changes. For example, you might have one set of boundaries with your family, another with your friends, and another with your coworkers. What's most important is that you are consistently honoring your needs and recognizing that they are important. Boundaries are about finding balance. They are about protecting your peace and ensuring that your well-being comes first. This doesn't mean you can't help others or be there for them. It simply means that you are not sacrificing your own health and happiness in the process. A critical aspect of setting boundaries is communicating them clearly and assertively. When you establish your limits, you should do so in a way that is respectful and direct. It's important to be clear about what you need without apologizing or over-explaining yourself. You don't have to justify your boundaries or feel guilty for having them. For example, when you need time alone to recharge, simply saying, "I need some time to myself today," to rest is enough. You don't need to explain why or feel bad for asking for time away. You are allowed to prioritize your own needs just as others do. In relationships, both personal and professional, setting boundaries is essential for creating mutual respect. When you set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. If you allow others to overstep your limits repeatedly, you are sending the message that it's okay for them to take more than they should. But when you enforce your boundaries consistently, you are communicating that you value yourself and expect the same respect from others. Healthy boundaries lead to healthier relationships where both parties understand each other's needs and operate with mutual consideration. It's also helpful to recognize that not everyone will understand or accept your boundaries right away. Some people may resist or feel hurt when you set limits, especially if they are used to you always saying yes. It's important to stand firm and remember that you are not responsible for their feelings or reactions. If someone values and respects you, they will understand and adjust. If they don't, that is not a reflection of your worth, but of their inability to honor your needs. Setting boundaries can be an uncomfortable process, especially if you've been people-pleasing for a long time, but it's also one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. Finally, setting boundaries without guilt is a practice of self-love. It is a recognition that you are worthy of respect and care, and that your own well-being is a priority. It's about learning to say no without feeling bad, to speak up for yourself without apologizing, and to protect your peace without explanation. You have every right to set boundaries in your life, and you deserve to live in a way that honors your needs, values, and desires. By setting boundaries without guilt, you create space for a life filled with balance, peace, and fulfillment. Owning your voice and truth is one of the most powerful forms of self-expression and personal empowerment. In a world where external pressures often dictate how we should act, think, or speak, embracing your authentic voice and standing firm in your truth is a radical act of self-love and confidence. It is the act of no longer hiding or suppressing your beliefs, feelings, and needs. Instead, it's about expressing them fully and without apology, understanding that your voice matters and your truth deserves to be heard. Owning your voice starts with the acknowledgement that you have something valuable to say. Everyone has a unique perspective shaped by their experiences, insights, and passions. Your voice is the vehicle through which you share your truth with the world. Whether it's through words, actions, or creativity, your voice is an essential part of who you are. Too often people hold back from speaking up or expressing their opinions out of fear of judgment, rejection, or conflict. The fear of not being accepted or understood can stifle authentic expression and silence individuals. However, when you choose to own your voice, you give yourself permission to be seen and heard just as you are. The first step in owning your voice is recognizing the value of your individuality. Your voice is not something that should be compared to or overshadowed by others. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to conform to societal standards or emulate someone else's way of speaking, thinking, or behaving. However, this only leads to feelings of inadequacy and a loss of personal identity. Owning your voice means embracing your uniqueness and celebrating what makes you different. You don't need to sound like anyone else, nor should you feel the need to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's narrative. Your voice is yours, and it carries the power to express your truths, values, and emotions in a way that no one else can. Owning your truth is equally important. Your truth is the essence of who you are, the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that arise from your experiences, your values, and your intuition. It's about being honest with yourself and with others, regardless of how uncomfortable or difficult it may be. Often people suppress their truth in order to avoid conflict, please others, or conform to societal expectations. However, denying your truth can lead to a life of inner turmoil, resentment, and disconnection from yourself. The longer you silence your truth, the further you drift from the person you are meant to be. Owning your truth means standing firmly in your beliefs, even when they differ from those around you. It's important to understand that owning your truth doesn't mean forcing it upon others or expecting them to agree with it. Your truth is yours, and it is valid, but others are entitled to their own truths as well. The key is to express your truth with respect and compassion, without the need to convince or change anyone else's perspective. In doing so, you create an environment where mutual respect is fostered and different viewpoints are welcomed. You don't have to apologize for your truth or water it down to make it more palatable to others. The people who truly value you will accept your truth as part of who you are. Sometimes, owning your voice and truth requires stepping into vulnerability. It can be intimidating to speak up, especially when doing so involves sharing deeply personal feelings or experiences. However, vulnerability is often the key to connecting authentically with others. When you open up and share your truth, you allow others to see you as you truly are. You create space for them to share their own truths as well. This exchange of authentic voices is what builds real, meaningful connections and strengthens relationships. By embracing vulnerability, you give others permission to do the same, creating a ripple effect of authenticity. Owning your voice and truth also requires setting boundaries. When you speak your truth, it's essential to protect your energy and honor your limits. You don't have to share everything with everyone, and you don't need to justify or explain your beliefs or feelings to others. Sometimes owning your voice means saying no to situations, conversations, or people that don't align with your truth. It's about recognizing that your well-being is just as important as your ability to express yourself, and you have the right to choose where and when you share your voice. In many situations, owning your voice can lead to discomfort, especially if the truth you're sharing challenges others or disrupts the status quo. It's natural to feel fear or anxiety when speaking up, especially when you're unsure how others will react. However, it's important to remember that discomfort is often a sign of growth. When you step out of your comfort zone and express yourself authentically, you open the door to new possibilities and deeper self-understanding. Over time, the more you own your voice and truth, the easier it becomes. Your confidence grows and you start to trust that your voice deserves to be heard, regardless of external validation. Owning your voice and truth also means letting go of the need for approval. Many people hold back from speaking their truth because they are afraid of being judged or rejected. They worry that their opinions or beliefs won't be accepted by others. However, seeking constant validation from others only diminishes your personal power. When you no longer seek approval and instead embrace your voice, you free yourself from the limitations imposed by others' expectations. You learn to trust yourself and your intuition, knowing that your voice is enough just as it is. Ultimately, owning your voice and truth is an act of self-empowerment. It allows you to live authentically with a sense of clarity and purpose. When you speak your truth, you align yourself with your highest self and you begin to attract people and opportunities that resonate with your authentic energy. Owning your voice is not about being loud or forceful. It's about being true to yourself and standing in your power. It's about trusting that your voice matters, that your truth is valid, and that you have the right to express it freely and unapologetically. By embracing your voice and truth, you embrace who you are meant to be, and you step into a life of greater fulfillment and authenticity. Your worth is not defined by sacrifice. In a world where selflessness is often praised and people are encouraged to give of themselves without limits, it's easy to fall into the belief that your value comes from what you are willing to give up for others. While generosity and kindness are virtues, they should not come at the cost of your own well-being or self-respect. True worth is inherent, and it cannot be measured by how much you sacrifice for others or how much you endure without asking for anything in return. The idea that sacrifice equals value is deeply ingrained in many cultures and societies. From a young age, people are often taught that in order to be good, virtuous, or deserving of love, they must be willing to put others' needs before their own. The message is clear: sacrifice yourself for the benefit of others, and you will be appreciated, valued, and loved in return. However, this narrative is flawed. Sacrificing yourself to meet the needs of others at the expense of your own happiness, health, and personal growth does not increase your worth, it diminishes it. When you make yourself small or compromise your needs constantly, you create a life of imbalance and disconnection from your true self. The truth is that your worth is inherent and not dependent on external actions. You are valuable simply because you exist, not because of the things you give up or how much you sacrifice. Your worth comes from within, from the unique combination of your qualities, your experiences, and your perspective. These things are irreplaceable, and they cannot be measured by the sacrifices you make. You are worthy of love, respect, and fulfillment without having to prove it through self-sacrifice. The constant pressure to sacrifice can lead to a sense of burnout, resentment, and a deep feeling of being unappreciated. When you give and give without taking time to care for yourself, you eventually have nothing left to offer. Sacrifice, when taken to the extreme, is a form of self-neglect. It causes you to lose sight of your own needs and desires, which are just as important as anyone else's. Over time, this imbalance can leave you feeling drained, disconnected, and resentful toward those you've been sacrificing for. Your worth doesn't lie in how much you give to others, it lies in how much you value yourself and your own well-being. Setting boundaries is one of the most important ways to ensure that your worth is not defined by sacrifice. Boundaries are not about being selfish, they are about protecting your energy, time, and emotional health. Setting boundaries allows you to honor your needs and maintain your sense of self-worth. When you know when to say no, when to step back, and when to prioritize yourself, you are taking responsibility for your own well-being. Saying no is not a rejection of others, it is a declaration that your needs are just as important as theirs. By setting clear boundaries, you communicate that you are worthy of respect and care, and that your value does not depend on constant self-sacrifice. The pressure to sacrifice often comes from external sources, such as family, society, or even friends. These external pressures can create feelings of guilt or shame when we don't meet their expectations or give as much as they believe we should. However, it's essential to understand that you are not obligated to meet anyone's expectations at the cost of your own happiness. Guilt is a powerful emotion that can manipulate you into sacrificing your own needs, but it is important to recognize that guilt is not a reflection of your worth. You are not a bad person for choosing to take care of yourself, and you are not selfish for setting boundaries. In fact, practicing self-care and valuing your own needs is one of the most loving and respectful things you can do, both for yourself and for those around you. It is also important to understand that true love and compassion are not about sacrifice, but about mutual respect and care. Healthy relationships are built on the foundation of both parties being able to express their needs and desires without fear of judgment or abandonment. When we sacrifice ourselves to make others happy or to meet their needs at the cost of our own, we create a power imbalance in the relationship. This imbalance can lead to feelings of resentment as one person is constantly giving while the other takes. True love and compassion are reciprocal, and they are rooted in mutual understanding and respect, not self-neglect. When you honor your own worth and set boundaries, you teach others to do the same. You show them that love and respect are not about giving everything away, but about supporting each other's growth and well-being. Furthermore, the idea that sacrifice equals worth can keep you stuck in a cycle of people-pleasing. People-pleasing behavior often stems from the belief that your value is based on how much you can give to others. This mindset leads to constantly seeking approval or validation from outside sources, which never brings true fulfillment. No matter how much you give, there will always be more to give, and there will always be someone who expects more. Seeking approval through sacrifice is a never-ending cycle, and it only leads to frustration and disappointment. The key to breaking this cycle is to recognize that your worth does not come from meeting everyone else's needs. It comes from within, and it is not conditional on how much you give or how much you sacrifice. To truly embrace your worth, you must stop measuring it by your ability to sacrifice for others. Instead, focus on what makes you happy, fulfilled, and at peace. Prioritize self-care, nourish your soul, and honor your own needs. Your worth is constant, and it is not diminished by the sacrifices you make or the things you do for others. When you recognize that your value is inherent, you no longer need to sacrifice yourself to prove your worth. You can give from a place of abundance, knowing that you are worthy of all the love, respect, and care you give to others. Embrace your worth, set boundaries, and remember that you are enough, just as you are. Embracing your power and authenticity is a transformative journey toward living a life that is true to who you are, free from the constraints of external expectations and full of purpose. It involves recognizing the inherent strength within you, reclaiming the confidence to express yourself honestly, and fully accepting all aspects of your being. Authenticity is not about conforming to societal norms or fitting into a mold, but about embracing your unique qualities, values, and desires and confidently living in alignment with them. When you tap into your personal power, you not only honor yourself, but also become a beacon of strength and inspiration for others. The path to embracing your power starts with self-awareness. It begins by acknowledging the power you already possess, whether it's your resilience, creativity, compassion, or intellect, and accepting it as an integral part of who you are. Too often people seek validation from external sources, measuring their worth based on others' opinions, achievements, or approval. This can leave you feeling disconnected from your true self and constantly chasing external recognition. Embracing your power means recognizing that your worth does not come from outside validation, but from within. You are powerful simply because you exist, and your power is reflected in the choices you make, the boundaries you set, and the way you live your life. Authenticity, on the other hand, requires you to live in alignment with your truth, regardless of what others may think or expect. When you embrace authenticity, you let go of the need to wear a mask or play a role to gain approval. It is the courage to express your thoughts, feelings, and desires without fear of judgment or rejection. Many people spend their lives conforming to the expectations of others, afraid to stand out or be seen for who they truly are. This fear of not fitting in or being accepted can lead to feelings of emptiness, confusion, and frustration. But when you choose to embrace your authentic self, you step into a life that is fulfilling, empowering, and deeply connected to your own truth. Owning your authenticity also means accepting your imperfections and vulnerabilities. It's about acknowledging that you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love, respect, and success. In fact, it's often the imperfections that make you uniquely beautiful. Your scars, your mistakes, your failures, all these things are part of your story and contribute to your personal growth. When you embrace your imperfections, you free yourself from the constant pressure to live up to an idealized version of yourself. You give yourself permission to be human, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. This self-compassion is an essential part of embracing your authenticity, because it allows you to show up in the world as your true self without hiding behind a facade of perfection. As you embrace your power and authenticity, you also begin to set boundaries that honor your needs, desires, and well-being. Boundaries are an essential aspect of self-love and self-respect, as they allow you to protect your energy and create space for what truly matters. Setting boundaries means knowing when to say no, when to walk away from situations or relationships that no longer serve you, and when to prioritize your own needs over the expectations or demands of others. When you allow yourself to establish and uphold boundaries, you create a life that is authentic to you, rather than one that is constantly shaped by the wants and needs of those around you. This act of self-preservation is an important step in owning your personal power, as it reinforces the belief that you are worthy of respect and care. Embracing your power also means stepping into your own leadership. Leadership isn't reserved for CEOs or public figures. It's about taking charge of your own life, making decisions that align with your values, and taking responsibility for the outcomes of your actions. When you embrace your leadership, you realize that you have the ability to shape your own destiny. Regardless of external circumstances, you become proactive rather than reactive, taking steps to create the life you desire, instead of waiting for things to happen. This type of empowerment comes from trusting your instincts, making choices based on your truth, and believing that you have the capacity to navigate challenges and create opportunities. It's important to note that embracing your power and authenticity doesn't mean that you will always have all the answers or that everything in your life will be perfect. It's about giving yourself the freedom to explore, grow, and evolve while remaining grounded in who you are at your core. There will be times when you doubt yourself or face challenges that make you question your path, but it's in these moments that embracing your power becomes even more important. It's in the face of adversity that you learn how strong and capable you truly are. When you allow yourself to be authentic, even when things are difficult, you build resilience and inner strength. Living authentically also means letting go of the need to compare yourself to others. In a world that is often focused on competition and comparison, it can be easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth against someone else's achievements or appearance. However, comparison only drains your energy and distracts you from your own path. Embracing your power means recognizing that your journey is unique, and your worth is not defined by the achievements or success of others. You don't need to be like anyone else, you simply need to be true to yourself. Your individuality is your strength, and it is what sets you apart in a world that often values conformity. Another crucial aspect of embracing your power and authenticity is the courage to speak your truth. Your voice is a powerful tool for self-expression, and when you use it to communicate your beliefs, desires, and feelings, you honor both yourself and those around you. Speaking your truth requires vulnerability, as it often involves sharing parts of yourself that you may have kept hidden. But by expressing yourself authentically, you inspire others to do the same. Your truth becomes a source of empowerment, not just for you, but for everyone who comes into contact with it. Ultimately, embracing your power and authenticity is a continuous process of self-discovery and self-empowerment. It requires you to trust yourself, honor your needs, and live in alignment with your deepest values. It means embracing your uniqueness, stepping into your own leadership, and refusing to conform to societal pressures. When you embrace your power and authenticity, you not only create a life that is true to who you are, but you also become a shining example of strength, courage, and self-love. You give others permission to do the same, creating a ripple effect of empowerment that transforms not just your own life, but the lives of everyone around you.